Hello, I'm Logan Phillips and welcome to my vlog, or as we like to call it, the VLOGAN. This is a vlog dedicated to people with special needs and those who love them. Today, I am lucky enough to have Kristin Schaub of Greenleaf Job Training Services. She's going to talk about what Greenleaf is and what Greenleaf does and how it might be able to help some of our viewers and listeners and their loved ones. So welcome, Kristin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you on looks like a rainy, sort of sunny Friday here today.
Yeah.
Kristin, tell the viewers and listeners who you are and what Greenleaf does.
Okay, well, I'm Kristin Schaub. I am the CEO of Greenleaf Job Training Services, and we are a vocational rehabilitation agency here in Columbus. We serve Central Ohio and East Central Ohio. We're primarily in Franklin counties and Licking counties. We do go into some of the other surrounding counties a little bit. But we provide services primarily through opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. So what we do is provide job placement services, job preparation types of services. So things like career exploration, vocational testing, assessments out in the community. And then we also, like I said, assist with job placement. So we help with all of the steps it takes to find a job. So interviewing, resume preparation and creation, assistance with if you need transportation, we help secure that, anything it takes to be successful in a job. And then once our clients receive jobs, we help them if they need it with job retention. So if we need to provide job coaching to learn the job or just learn some of the soft skills about working, like things like being on time, how to interact with coworkers and supervisors, things like that. We help with that. For future planning, like for, that somebody's working and they think they want to try for another job, or how do I get promoted at this company, or how do I, I've worked here for a few years and now I'm interested in moving on to something else. So we can help with all of those kinds of things.
Okay, so how does a person get involved with Greenleaf?
Right now, our services are primarily provided, like I said, through opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities. So they are our primary referral source. So if you can get linked with them, or if you're already linked with them, and you are interested in any of the services we provide, that's the best way to do it. You talk to your VR counselor and they can help you get referred over to us. And they pay for all of our services. We do some work with the Department of Developmental Disabilities as well. Primarily what we do with them is after we've worked with someone through opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities, those services are time limited. So once they are done, if you receive a waiver through Department of Developmental Disabilities or county funded services, we can provide that long-term support, that lifelong support on the job after OOD services are done. So that's another way that we serve people.
So to start, the best place is to go through OOD.
Correct.
And then after that happens, then perhaps a person's county board or their waiver would provide funding for your supports.
Correct.
Great. Can you take us through, and I know that so many people are different. Is there a typical client, or could you give us two examples of individuals who you've helped and what kind of their journey with Greenleaf looked like?
We have a lot of, I think over 60% of our participants are transition-aged youth.
Okay.
So their journey might look a little bit different than maybe somebody who has been in the workforce or is an adult and is receiving services for the first time. It might look a little bit different. So, for example, for transition age youth, we've had folks who come in, they're initially introduced to us through a summer work program a lot of times. So opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities will refer high school aged youth to us. Most often it is maybe between sophomore and junior year, junior and senior year, to gain some work experience. So we have a number of different community work sites around the city, and every summer we run a 5-week program. It's 20 hours a week of paid work at sites ranging from places like Zumbizi Bay to helping with all the inner tubes and kind of crowd management and things like that, to Life Care Alliance, helping prepare meals for Meals on Wheels, Lifetime Fitness, doing a lot of cleaning, laundry, those kinds of things. So they get to work in a group with a job coach, one of our job coaches. We have up to 4 students in a group. and they work for 5 weeks receiving a training stipend. So a lot of times that's first introduction to Greenleaf for people. So following that, they may then come back to us when they're getting ready to graduate and say, okay, I'm ready to look for a job. So we start what we call job development or job placement services at that time. A lot of times that may happen toward the end of the senior year or the year they're getting ready to exit school. That would be, individual meetings with a job developer. They come to us at that point, they've established a vocational goal with their counselor, their VR counselor at OOD, and we are tasked with looking for a job within that vocational goal. So maybe it's somebody who's looking for work for the first time, they're getting ready to graduate high school and they want to work in a retail environment or something. So we help them find the type of job that fits within their vocational goal, also matches their interests, their strengths, any limitations they may have. It meets their transportation requirements. We have folks who don't drive, so maybe they need transportation through Department of Developmental Disabilities, or maybe they need to learn to ride the CODA bus. So we also can provide help with learning to ride the bus, learning those routes and things. So that might also be part of what we provide at that point. And then once they have that job, we will stay with that person as long as they need. So if they need assistance with completing orientation paperwork, or a lot of companies are doing computer-based training modules before they start a job. So we'll assist with that. We have a lot of people who do really great on the job, but the orientation process is difficult because it's not anything like what the job itself is going to be. Right?
Got it. Yes.
So, and then once they're out working, assisting them with learning the job, learning the clock in, clock out procedures, learning, when to take breaks, all those kinds of things, but it's very individualized. Some people don't want a job coach there with them, and we can respect that. So we can make arrangements to provide support in other ways, maybe during days off or phone calls or, things like that. So once they're stable in the job, they have another 90 days of support from us that is funded from OOD. So at that point, it's more minimal check-ins. We don't want to go from somebody having a job coach 100% of the time to all of a sudden, sorry, we're done. So we try to slowly back off. And at that point, we may, if they receive services from Department of Developmental Disabilities, we'll kind of do that handoff from OOD to DODD.
So I'm imagining a situation where somebody is working, they realize, hey, I'd like to do something different. I've seen another job, or they've offered to switch me from, doing the mail to, doing something else. How does that look? Do they come back to Greenleaf, and does Greenleaf then, or do they talk to OODD and then OODD contracts with Greenleaf again? How does that work?
Yeah, so OOD has a process called what they call a job save. And in this case, it's not exactly a job save, obviously, but it's a quicker process than their normal intake process. And so if somebody calls us and says, hey, I'm interested in doing this, you guys already worked with me, what we'll do is help them facilitate getting back with OOD. So we'll direct them to call OOD and talk to their counselor, or we may place a phone call or something to help facilitate that, so that then they can come back to us and receive that extra support for the new job. And so it's just a way of getting back into services more quickly than maybe the typical process takes.
Who are the people Greenleaf employs to help your clients? So who are they going to see, and who are they going to come in contact with?
Okay, what happens is we get a referral from the state, and we have our services coordinator. She's the one who sets up. She'll be the very first contact you have, and she's the one who calls to set up the initial meeting. So, and she will review at that point, okay, these are the services that you've been referred for. Does this sound right? Does this match your understanding? If there's any questions at that point, she'll reach back out to OOD and say, hey, this person thought they were going to be looking for a job, but you sent them for an assessment or something. We'll make sure that everything is in line with what the person is interested in and what they've agreed upon with their counselor. And then they meet with an intake specialist. Currently, those are being done either via like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or over the phone due to COVID, but we have in the past done them in person, and that's something that we can certainly work out if that's a preference for people. And then after that, it depends on what the service is that they're receiving. They will either then move on and work with a job developer if they're ready to look for a job. So they would start with that person, and they're the ones who work with them up until the point that they get that job. And then we have job coaches. So if they're going right into an assessment or something like that, they would be connected with one of our job coaches. So, or if it's somebody who already has a job and they just need some assistance on it, they would go right to one of our job coaches. So job developers and job coaches are two primary groups of people that we have.
Awesome. And I'm assuming that the person gets to know their job coach really, really well.
Yes, for sure. With job development, those are typically either once a week or twice a week meetings for an hour or two at a time. But job coaches are there, as much as the person needs them. And it's kind of an agreed upon thing between the participant, the VR counselor, the employer, and the coach, all kind of working together to determine the level of support that's needed.
Got it. How many clients do you currently have? Can you give a round number, or do you happen to know how many people you've placed in jobs where they're thriving?
So I know so far in the first quarter of this year, I believe we had 35 people that we placed in jobs in the first 3 months of the year. We aim for at least 100 a year that we want to get in jobs, but we have a lot of people who come to us. I believe last year we served around 400 people total in all of our programs. So if that gives you an idea, we have a lot of other programs besides the job placement that we do. So
wow.
I know you and I spoke before about Project Search a little bit, and then in addition, some of our other assessment programs that we do.
Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Project Search is a kind of a collaborative program. It's an international model, and we happen to be partners with 3 different Project Search programs here in Central Ohio, one in Licking County at Licking Memorial Hospital, and then one at Dublin Methodist Hospital and Doctors Hospital. So it's a collaboration amongst the school districts and the host business, in these cases, the hospitals, and us and OOD. And it's a school year program. It gives students who have completed all of their requirements for graduation, but have decided to stay in school, possibly up to their 21st birthday, that the law says they can. And it gives them a school year's worth of internship opportunities at these different businesses. And then our job there, we work hand in hand with a special education teacher there, and we provide the job coaching services. And then we provide the job placement services once it's done. So we're in active job development, job placement with our 3 groups from this year right now.
Okay.
We've already gotten some in jobs. So
I hear a lot about Project Search. What else is out there besides Project Search for people? Is it something else through Greenleaf, or is it just OOD and then get into Greenleaf that way?
Right now, it's primarily going through OOD. The school districts have programs as well that students can access. One of the things that we're kind of in the process of doing is we filed to become a 501c3, and we are hoping through that we can receive grants and other funding that will allow us to provide similar programming or expanded programming related to what we already do, but using other funding sources so people can come directly to us rather than always going through OOD.
Got it. Your fees, what supports Greenleaf, is payment from OOD or the state. And correct. What you're hoping to do is to turn this into a nonprofit where people could come and say, hey, I need support. And you're getting funding from other sources that would allow you to do that. Great.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Terrific. Is there anything new or exciting going on in Greenleaf that you would like people to know about?
The nonprofit is the biggest thing for us. And we have lots of ideas of things that we want to be able to provide. We feel like there are definite gaps out there in service provision. The state has very specific things that they are able to do with the money they get from the federal and state government. So there are some things that we hope to be able to access and to be able to expand. We are right now very specifically working with people with disabilities, but there are a lot of people out there with other barriers as well. We are getting ready, hopefully this summer or starting in the fall, to work with Community Refugee and Immigration Services to provide very similar services to their students. We find that a lot of the barriers that particularly youth and their population are facing, they mirror some of the things we already help people with in the disability community. That's the other thing that's been big for us. We just got our website revamped. We got that launched last week. So it's www.greenleafjts.com. So that's
I was
all
on it
fresh
this
and
morning.
new.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
fresh and new. So we're excited about that.
great. Say that again about the when you expect the nonprofit to happen. I don't know whether you gave kind of a date or a timeline for that.
So that is still a bit up in the air. We were hoping to launch July 1st. There are real slowdowns with the IRS right now. We have done everything that we need to do. We are just awaiting approval from them. So we checked in this week, and we have another 2 weeks as of Tuesday, as of Tuesday, so May 4th. So we hope to know something soon. If we're not able to make the July 1st deadline, then we're going to aim for October 1st to be able to do that.
Great.
So,
Well, that's super exciting. So more of the same. It's just for more people. That's great.
more people, yep. And hopefully things to maybe fill in some of the gaps in existing services.
That's
kind of gonna
great.
be our target.
Well, Kristin, thank you so much for joining me here today. I know that I learned a lot, and I'm sure other folks did. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great weekend.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of VLOGAN. Please like, share, and subscribe to the RRPG channel so you can stay up to date with some of the latest news in the disability community.